Well, if you are here today, welcome, and it's likely you've heard some mention of Turnitin Draft Coach and the new capability that we're offering here at Turnitin. And today, you can see in this timeline here, we're just going to share a little bit more about what Draft Coach is and how it works for students. And then we'll review a set of the main questions that we're pretty sure you're looking for us to answer. And then we'll just leave some space for you to ask any of these, any questions that you have that we didn't already cover. So my name's Gabby Singh, and joining me here today is Alexis and Tracy DeLillo from our Professional and Educational Services team. And I believe we've got Lindsay Cummings also joining us. She's the product manager for Draft Coach. So today Tracy is going to be helping on the chat side and answering questions in the chat through our time together. I plan on being able to cover all the broad strokes, but if you've got comments or things that you just have to ask right now, feel free to use the chat or the QA, and we'll be happy to engage with you during the webinar as well. So Turnitin, we've been around for about, over 20 years now, and even though our solutions are used across the globe in many countries, we are relatively still a small company. And many of us here have worked in education in some degree. A lot of us are still faculty, we're instructional designers, LMS administrators, and therefore wanted to say that our mission here is very meaningful to us. We really do want to help you ensure the integrity, global education, and meaningfully improve outcomes. And that last part, meaningfully improve outcomes, is what underpins what Draft Coach is all about. And just getting started, this is the challenge we wanted to address. Now, we're all familiar with the common patterns of assessment where a student exhibits some sort of knowledge or work, and then they receive feedback or coaching based on what they produce. But the challenge that we see is that gap between the student doing the work and then getting that feedback. There's been some recent studies done that show that students kind of just shut down once they receive a grade. And so it was our goal to try to reach the students sooner with more insights that can support you and help them learn and ultimately succeed. And faculty also have been telling us that they want to support students with learning about idea attribution in ways that this makes the student feel supported and set them for success. So none of that, policing that sometimes we hear about in the past. In other words, we just want to be able to contribute more formative writing support in addition to the summative support that you're probably already using with the other Turnitin capabilities. And I'm just going to use a simple analogy. So if our goal here is to be on the roof, then Draft Coach really serves as each rung of that ladder, providing opportunities for students to practice and learn. So Draft Coach is identifying opportunities for improvement in writing, original writing, and provides specific coaching related to the student's unique work and skill level. And so this learning and practice happens rung by rung here. And then we have this goal or outcome that's reached. That summative assessment or the student performance at the end here, the instructional period. And we provide that, basically that evidence of proficiency. So the Turnitin similarity report, which is probably what you already use in your LMS and your assignment workflow, kind of is here. And then Turnitin there, the Draft Coach there kind of supports or works in tandem or in concert with your current solution. So we kind of shared a little bit of the pedagogical approach on how we're offering Draft Coach, and I just want to take a little bit of a deeper step into what comprises those rungs of that ladder. And there was a really good piece of work done by Dylan William called Embedded Formative Assessment. And in that paper, they said that students learned twice as fast when they received constructive criticism with specific comments on errors, suggestions on where to improve, and at least one positive remark. And that's twice as fast learning than students who simply just received scores. So if you focus on that specific comments on errors and suggestions on how to improve, that's what Draft Coach is. So it's a feature of this is a feature of an integrity solution offered by Turnitin. And specifically here, we've got these three, sorry, I just saw Tracy's comment there. Sorry about that. Tracy is giving you direction on the wrong area. These three areas here where we can mention potential errors and recommendations or guidance, where we can offer citation style and support on sources, and then also grammar guidance. So I want to just dive in and show you a quick live example of how students can experience Draft Coach. And I'm going to use Microsoft Office today instead of Google, although it works in both. So if I'm Maya, I am working on a paper here, and this paper that I pulled up is on my favorite psychoanalyst, Sigmund Freud. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. My font is black. There we go. I'm writing this paper on Sigmund Freud. I'm getting kind of toward the end here in my draft, and I want to understand a little bit more if I've got any citation errors. My school has plugged in the Turnitin solution with my Microsoft 365 Enterprise that's offered to me at my campus. So I am able, you know what, I said I was doing it in Microsoft, I'm doing it in Google. So I could go here, extensions, and turn on Turnitin Draft Coach here. I'm going to jump over to Microsoft, keep my promise. Draft Coach, it works the same way. There we go. In that the Turnitin will be part of the menu once you have an integration, and there's a tab here for Draft Coach. So turning on that, I've got my panel here that shows similarity, citation, grammar. I can click on this, and it's going to run my work through the Turnitin database, and it tells me that 23% of my paper matches something that exists in the Turnitin database. So now that I have that information, I can review the details here on what is showing as a potential match, and then make any corrections I need to make. So this is something where I'm doing this in the privacy of my own home and my document editing software here prior to submitting for a grade. The work that I'm doing here, the checks that I'm making, are never indexed in Turnitin. Again, I said this is private, so I'm able to make these changes without feeling like I'm being observed. It's really starting out this conversation around ID attribution with students with trust. So I have the option to click on citations here. The tool will comb through, find the bibliography, list for me the the citation style that is listed here. It's saying that it believes I'm using APA, and I can match that against my assignment requirements. And then I can test here. This tool is saying I might have a citation here with no reference. It's giving me a little bit of guidance on what I can do to address that, some examples. It's also telling me I have a reference here with no citation. So if I think that those are errors after I see those highlights, I can make those changes. Last piece, grammar here will comb through my work and find punctuation, mechanics, usage, style, potential errors, highlight them for me, and then I can review those and make changes before I submit. So when I'm doing this, I'm seeing recommendations or highlights on potential errors. I'll just click on this fragment here for a second. The tool will explain the error, give some examples to look at here, some more information here about how to make a change. There's one thing it isn't doing. It's not making the offer to make the change or fix for me. There's no button here to click and have it automatically apply with the change. So this really is intended to be a formative writing tool that allows a student to reflect on the information, make the change themselves, which is where we're hoping that rich learning is happening. So once I get this to a point where I'm comfortable with the similarity, and if there's citations and grammar mentions, I can make changes to those. Then I can submit it through the assignment, through my LMS workflow, or everything, the workflow that you currently use with Turnitin and with your assignment workflow. So that's a quick peek at Draft Coach and how it works in Microsoft. But I wanted to pause for a moment and do a quick check-in, because it's likely that after seeing Draft Coach works, your initial reaction could, and I'm guessing it's somewhere going to be distilled into two buckets. And the first one, I will guess, will be enthusiastic, hopefully, because many of our partner schools are very happy with this development and this direction we're taking. It's critically important for many colleges and universities to leverage technology for positive student-focused goals. And upon hearing about what we've been doing, they've been really eager to get this set up and started. That's maybe one bucket. And the other bucket I'm going to say here is concerned. Because you might be thinking about, okay, what about those students who might be using Draft Coach in an inappropriate way, maybe to conceal some plagiarism or bad habits? So I'm going to just invite you to go into the chat now and share a word that best personifies what you're feeling or thinking right now. So you're free to use these, or if you have any others, we'd love to just have a check-in and understand what's on your mind. That will give us some information on where to cover for this next half of our talk here. On the fence. Thank you. Great. So hopeful, cautiously optimistic, enthusiastic, excited. Thank you. Oh, good. The leadership side of me concerned. Word will only appear. Oh, okay. Yep. It will address that, Samantha. Enthusiastic. Great. Please. Potentially happy. Okay, those are. Yep. Faculty being worried. Good. Okay. I was anticipating some of that as well. So thank you for sharing that. Feel free to keep sharing, and I wanted to move to the next section here of our commitment for our time and cover those common questions and answers. And now it's telling me that I can cue this one up because it sounds like it's a good opportunity to talk about the first question here, which is, how can we ensure Draft Coach is not used inappropriately? I shouldn't have made that a double negative. There's three ways that we want to kind of answer that. The first is talk to your students and share with them your expectations on how to use Draft Coach, and really talk to them about how it can help them learn. We have some really great materials and support to help you with these conversations, and we're going to share that shortly. The next part of my answer is just to mention that Draft Coach has what I like to call speed bumps. So users are only able to do 3 checks. Let me just pop into the Google one here. Only able to do 3 checks per document. So a student, they open a document here and they're doing a check. You can see it right here, run similarity check. There'll be a count of 3 times they can run at once. So we're looking for that to kind of slow down a little bit of that behavior of massaging content checking if they were using it inappropriately. And the last part of this answer is that the Turnitin administrator is able to see the usage data across your campus and be able to see any kind of egregious misuse, the name of the user, and the number of times they're running a report. So if you have someone who might be using it inappropriately, you're going to start seeing that come through in the data and be able to manage that. But a little bit more about that. This is an example of a report that shows Draft Coach usage, the author name, email, date, similarity score here. So if we have, we'll pick on Alexis again, she's running 48 reports in one day, you're going to see that spike, and then you'll be able to reach out, have a conversation with her. We recognize that this kind of information being delivered to the instructor themselves is ideal. and that is something that we're currently working on to accommodate. Here's just another general report that shows just some ways that you can look at overall usage of Draft Coach across time, so you'll be able to visualize how it's being adopted and the value across your institution. So next question here. Can my school start using Draft Coach? So the answer is yes, if your school is using Feedback Studio or an originality solution licensed for your institution. That's a short answer. I do want to offer, although you can begin using the tool right away, you may want to consider some change management to ensure that this is rolled out in a successful way across your institution. So Draft Coach can impact the way that faculty support and guide students, and so it's our sincere hope that the impact is a positive one, but your team might want to consider how you successfully launch it across your campus. And we have got materials to share with you, and we personally will be working and consulting with you and helping you with that considerations and best practices that we're learning from other partner schools. Now, I added this in because I just mentioned Draft Coach, and I said its availability for Feedback Studio or an originality license. And anyone wondering what the difference between those two things are, I just wanted to mention that basically they're the same at the core, but originality solutions offer additional capabilities that help faculty and administration detect potential contract cheating and manage misconduct cases. So we're not talking about that today, but if you're interested in learning more about the complete suite of solutions to manage integrity across your campus, you can drop information in directly to our hosts in the chat and let us know you'd like some more information on that. Alexis is also just going to share a link to a website if you wanted to see a little bit more about that today. The price for Draft Coach. There's no extra cost. This is something that is really important to us in living our mission that I talked about earlier. So we wanted to make sure it was available to everyone who uses our main integrity solutions. So no extra cost. And which applications does Draft Coach operate with? And the answer is with your enterprise version of Google G Suite and or Microsoft 365 Word. I think it might have been Greg who asked if it would work for individual licenses, and it will not. It has to be through the enterprise license that is offered from the school. Can my school have Draft Coach set up for both Google and Microsoft? Now the answer to that, it's going to be a fuzzy yes. We are testing it and now to explore that a little bit more. And I'll just say that one of the complexities of launching new technology is finding this elusive sweet spot between launching it as soon as possible as well as launching it only after we've done all the testing and planning for every scenario. So this is just one of those areas that we're finishing up doing a little bit of exploration. If you have both solutions at your school and you're interested in this, just drop a note to your account manager, let them know so that we can continue to update you on how to set that up or what the information or support is around that. Does Draft Coach have to be enabled for my entire campus, or can the users be limited? So in general, Draft Coach is something that if you turn it on and you make that connection with your Google or Microsoft, everyone can use it. In general, that's from our side perspective how it is set up, but we do want to mention that a number of our partner schools have been able to limit the usage through restricting usage on their Microsoft or Google side. So it is something that schools have been successful with doing. Alexis is going to share links. This is outside of Turnitin. This is a conversation or work that is done on your Microsoft or Google side. Next question. How will it look in the apps? You saw me blunder around and click through those a second ago, but I'll just reshare here. In Google Documents, it will always be in the student or user clicking on extension and then Turnitin Draft Coach, which will then open up that panel with those features. And then the same, once you make the integration or that handshake with Microsoft, there'll be an extra menu item here, Turnitin, and then a tab here, Draft Coach, which will enable those same capabilities. What resources are available for rolling out and using Draft Coach? Now, there is a beautiful support site that offers direction, information for administrators and for faculty and for students. I'm just going to go here for a second. You can see it firsthand. My internet is running really slow. So when this shows in a second here, it will first offer details for administrators on how to set up with Google or Word. So you can click on those, get the directions step by step there. And we've got instructional guides, best practices, tools for integrating this into your classrooms for faculty or instructional designers. And then lastly, you've got quick start guides and support here for students as well. So returning back here. I'm the admin. How do I get Draft Coach set up? I'm just going to recommend again that you start here at that site that Alexis has shared in the chat, and the directions will be here. You can always reach out to your account admin, and they'll be able to help you as well. And what are you working on next? Turnitin. So just want to mention, as far as our roadmap goes, we're adding in more detailed guidance into Draft Coach. And we're looking at focusing a little bit more on the importance of integrity and adding more what to do next guidance within the coaching we have there. Because we want students to better understand how to address similarity issues, how to think about them, and academic integrity. But not only that, what we are working on next depends a lot on you. So if you're open to sharing more feedback, please fill out the form. We're going to drop one in if you want to keep it handy or bookmark it. Always happy to hear any kind of feedback you have. You might sometimes notice surveys pop up. Please take a moment and fill those out and let us know what's important to you. But I wanted to make one offer for a colleague. We've got Donna Shaw. My screen's going to update here in 1 second. There we go. Donna Shaw is product manager, and she's specifically studying how we can support more integrity management for anyone teaching in the STEM disciplines. So if you are an instructor or you know instructors in your campus that teach any kind of STEM discipline and might use Turnitin for some variation or some part of some assignment, we'd love to talk to you or to them about an hour conversation, and Donna just wants to find out more about what would be interesting and how you currently teach and how we can help provide more value and support and tools to help make your life easier and make you more effective in giving the best feedback for your students. Okay, so we just reviewed Draft Coach and how it can be used to offer more formative feedback opportunities for your students. And we reviewed some of the most common questions and answers for Draft Coach and getting started. And now we're happy to dive into any questions or comments that you have. I'll just check in with Tracy here or Alexis if you've got anything that you've set aside that you would like us to cover live.
Hey, Gabby. There was a question a while back, and I think it was something very specific you were showing.
Okay.
The question was, what was under details? And I think that was back when you were demonstrating Draft Coach. And I'll be honest, I was answering questions. So
Let's pop into one. Maybe we can look at Draft Coach. If you ask that, feel free to offer more clarity on your question as I pull this up. Oh, it might be this. That's just the starting menu page. So details here offers the opportunity to click on similarity checks, citation, or grammar. So you can go to what's most important if that was the tool.
yes, that was definitely it. The other question that I got that I wasn't sure if you were prepared to answer, I wasn't, is around the accessibility of Draft Coach.
So Accessibility. There's a portion of the accessibility experience here that is really sourced from the document editing software. So I think it's going to be a combination of us providing support to help with that. When it comes to the Turnitin experience that's pulled through here, that is accessible. We do have VPATs that address the solution that you're currently licensing. This plugin is a component of that product that we offer that VPAT for. That's going to be the general answer, and then if you want more details or really to dive in more, then that's something that we can do with you. So feel free to, if you want to drop your name in, I'll follow up, or if you want to reach out to your account manager, then we can explore that further to help you.
Gabby, do you also know if it's screen reader compatible? I can't remember that off the top of my head either.
I have an answer I want to say, but I know this is recorded, and I'm like, I'm a 95% sure on my answer, so we're going to hold off on that and then offer to address that after today.
Thank you.
In general, accessibility is something that is incredibly important to Turnitin. It's something that we continually work on and test is a part of our product development cycle that we address when we release any new product or component. So I've got a lot of confidence, but specifically, I don't want to make any broad statements about the screen reader portion for this particular capability. Oh, that's an interesting question. So it was, we're offering right now 3 checks per document. And I get this question a lot. Can that be edited? And I always ask, like, what would the preference be? And some schools think, well, it might be nice to just put a bigger number in. Some schools say, I only want 1 try. I don't want to encourage multiple checks. So we're still curious on where we should be landing with that. So if you have more feedback on what you'd like, we'd love to hear it. As it stands now, it's 3, and it is not something that is customizable.
Gabby, I think piggybacking off of that too, there was a lot of questions and comments in the chat about what happens if a student copies the document and whether or not that restarts their 3 try submission. So
very innovative. Yes, I love it. Yes, so it is possible. So if I'm Maya here, I keep maybe massaging the plagiarism sin out of some work, keep checking to try to get a score low enough that I'm comfortable with submitting. I hit my 3 target here, I open a new document, I paste it in, I do get another 3 tries. There's the potential that could happen for some set of students. What we've done then is we've offered that reporting and that usage information back to your admin, so you'll be able to see those habits and those spikes on students that are running a lot of reports, so you can have an opportunity to go talk to them, or talking about best practices, or look at maybe changing or influencing that. Oh, sure. What should I do with my score? Boop. So this is some of that in-product guidance we talked about. Let's just say, what should I do with my score? I think my score is too high. There's just some information here, some light coaching on why or how that could be, and recommendations on what maybe to do about it. I think my score is too low. Information here on that. Large sections of my paper do not have any highlights. So this is something that we're addressing to provide more help or coaching. How should I use these checks down here? This gives a student a couple options if they like to check along the way, or they like to write the whole thing and then check, and then just talks to them about maybe how to consider the best practices for that. Okay, so the spike. So let me just, one moment, let me pause this here and go back to that reporting screen. So I'm just going to show you a screenshot. There we go. This is an example of the reporting, which the admin, Turnitin admin, will see. And on the detail tab here, you'll be able to see the name of the student, when they're running the report, the similarity score, and the amount of times they're running it. So that's the content and the data that you'll be able to see right off the bat. Oh, I guess be ready to wrap up here unless there's any other questions.
There were some questions in the chat about, there was a question from Meg asking whether or not Turnitin would let you know if there was a spike in usage, or if it's the school's responsibility to check for spike.
Okay, so it would be the school looking at that report to then know if there's a spike in usage. Currently, we don't have any like push alerts on some kind of threshold, but that is something I think it's really interesting that we should be exploring. So just wrap up here and say it was really a great chance to be able to share these updates with you. We are really excited about these kinds of developments and offering tools that can really support students and help them grow and learn with ID attribution and citations. Let us know if there's anything else we can do to support you. We hope you have a great rest of your fall term. Take care.